the chairman of NASSCOM, the National Association for Software and Services Companies. I'm the 26th chairman. This industry has grown tremendously in the last 25 years. Just to give you a few data points and nothing more than that, is that this industry now is about $148 billion. That's what the size of the industry is. It contributes to about 8.5% of GDP of this nation. That's how large the ICT industry has become. It employs about 3.5 million people directly. You multiply the number by 3, that becomes about 10 million people indirectly. We continue to grow, even in spite of the fact that the base is large. There are lots of people who think that, has this industry slowed down? And the reason for that is they say the percentage growth has come down. And I'm sure a number of you have done mathematics and statistics. You know how statistics can be deceptive. Percentages are not the right numbers I keep talking about. You look at the absolute addition that is being done by this industry. On $148 billion, we're projecting a growth of 12 to 13% this financial year. So we will add about $18 billion worth of revenue for this nation this year. So there is not much of truth in terms of what people are talking about slowing down. It continues to grow. And a good data point for my audience today is that last year we added about 230,000 jobs in the industry, 2.3 lakhs. Our belief is it'll almost be the same number. We'll come to why it's the same number, not higher number, because there's a 12% growth and so on and so forth, but we will come to that in a moment from now. So therefore, the industry continues to grow, continues to be a net addition in terms of employees. But there is a major transformation in this industry. Though NASSCOM, understandably, what comes to your mind is purely IT services, the constituents of NASSCOM have grown tremendously. There are clearly 5 distinctively differentiated identifiers in terms of what constituents are for NASSCOM. The traditional IT services, then you have the BPO, BPM as it's called, business process management or business process outsourcing. There is ER&D, engineering, research and development, that also goes into the bucket of IT services. We also have product as in software product. We have now a big boom coming up from internet and e-commerce. And so these are, so therefore it's not just one constituent of what traditionally it was in terms of just IT services, but there are 5 distinctively different constituents. And each one of them is fairly sizable. I believe in the $148 billion or so, the IT services still is the bulk. But you look at product, maybe a little small, but BPM is $26 billion. And if you look at engineering, it's about $20 billion. And the good news, because I'm talking to an audience of largely engineering today, is that the last year, while we talk about the IT NASSCOM growing at about 12 to 13%, but the highest growth was in engineering R&D, which grew about 18% on that base of $20 billion. So what am I trying to establish at this point of time is that the party for IT services is not over. I'm saying this loudly and clearly. The growth still continues to be there. But at the same time, what we see is that it's not the same business as what it was in the past. There is tremendous amount of transformation that you see in this business. Companies from overseas came to India primarily because of the cost advantage. Don't do any math. Very simply, it used to cost them 1/3 it would cost if they probably did the same work in the Western world, be it United States or in Europe. But today, the demand from the customer is no longer just the cost arbitrage, but he thinks in terms of making sure that there's a value arbitrage. You're a value creator. It's not any longer that I need 200 Java programmers or C++ programmers. The requirement today is that I need people who can provide an end-to-end solution. You can be innovative in providing a solution to me. That is the demand that we have from the customer, which is a transformation. So therefore, the industry opportunity is large. There are challenges. Challenges in terms of the customer demand. But more interestingly, the other big transformation that we are seeing is that there is a big shift in terms of technology. There is, I think I keep saying this fairly often, we are very, very fortunate people. We're born at times when, the amount of transformation hasn't been seen by mankind so far. Data point, nothing more than that. The amount of data that got created in the last 2 years, I believe, the amount of data that got created in the last 2 years is more than the data that was created in the history of mankind. That's the amount of data that's coming in, largely because of new technologies that are coming. We'll touch upon it in a minute. So there are more amount of changes that are happening.